last week I made a sign on my laser engraver, but I wound up not hanging it on the door, but I want it to be up somewhere. So I'm going to make a 3D printed base for it. I'm going to use TinkerCAD to do so. I'm going to make a star as the base, and we're going to kind of figure out where we're at from there. Before we do that, though, I'm going to change this over into imperial units just because it makes more sense to my brain. And then we're good. All right, so let's take a look and see what size we have here to begin with. That's probably not going to be big enough. So I want to hold shift to scale this up so they stay proportional to each other. And probably 3 or 4 inches is going to be where I want it to be. Let's go with 4 just to be safe here. All right, that's close enough. We're going to change the height way down to just like 1/4 of an inch. It doesn't need to be very big for this part. And we are going to make a copy of that. And I'm just going to move it over here for right now. That will make more sense, but it's going to become a hole in just a little bit here. Next thing I need to do is make a little slot to hold it, but I think I'm going to do it like this, where it's going to kind of exist in here. So let's see if we can just stretch that out a bit. It's only going to need to be, let's see, the entire thing is just under 1/4 inch thick. So if we want to have an 1/8 inch on each side, it just needs to be a 1/2 inch. And then we're going to try to line that up to the best of our ability here. I am going to go over to the top view and see exactly where it's at. And what I might do is rotate this just a hair so we could try to get that centered roughly. So something like that, and then it can go towards the back chunky kind of area of that. This is going to come up like so. And we should be okay with all of that. We do need to cut out away all this stuff, which will present a challenge here. What I might actually do is just bring these in just so I don't have to deal with any of that. Just bring it in like so. And let's see, what does that look like? It's not the worst. So we'll go in and group those together so that they're kind of set there. And then I'm going to bring a rectangle in. That rectangle is going to be a 1/2 inch wide. It is going to be, or excuse me, 1/4 inch wide. It's going to be like that. We'll bring it in here. And then we're just going to grab that and drag it all the way across. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. Now I'm bringing it all the way out. It's not how it's going to be once we print it. I have to move this up a bit, but I just wanted to kind of see where it's at. So it's up 1/8 inch, so it'll cut out from both sides, which it really doesn't need to do, but I think it'll be fine. And what I actually could do, let's try this. Let me move that. Let's move it up to another 1/4 inch. So it's just cutting off there. And then we'll group all of these. So highlight, Control G to group. You can see that we have that little pathway there. And then what I might do here is this guy. If we made this 10 inches and we made the height of it 5. So we basically have a 1/2 circle, which looks great. We need to change its thickness down to 1/4 of an inch. And then we're going to rotate this 180 degrees. So it's now in there like so. What I'm thinking I might want to do is just, whoops, not that. We're going to try dragging this over here and getting it roughly centered. That looks pretty good. And we'll move it up just 1/8 of an inch. So now, if I did my math correctly, and we'll change it to a hole. Now I can see that it's going to leave this little indentation 1/2 circle in there. So because it's a full circle and it's a 10 inch diameter circle, it has 10 inch diameter here, and the radius is 5 inches there. So that should all work. I can highlight them both, group them together, and now I have a small little indentation for that to slide into, and it should work just fine. So that's kind of the initial setup I think that we're going to go with. Now I'm going to go over to export. I'll select an STL file. It will download, and then we're going to fire up Bamboo Studio. We'll import that file in, and we'll see exactly what that does for us. So I'll bring this bad boy in. There it is right there. It looks not bad. If I were to do this in a different software like Onshape or Inventor or OpenCAD or any of the other things that we have, I would put little fillets on a lot of this stuff just to round them over a bit. I'm not super worried about that right now. So we are the A1 Mini. We have all of that. We're in global. I don't need to really worry about anything. So let's go over to preview. Just make sure it all looks good there. It's going to take a total of 42 minutes to print. So let's go ahead and print the plate, and we're going to change that color instead of what we have in our 4 spot for the AMS light. I want it to be white. I'm also going to capture a time lapse, which you'll see hopefully here soon. So we're going to send it over to the printer. It will download and do its thing, and hopefully we'll have a nice little stand for this thing to sit up with, and it will hopefully work the way I'm planning it on. So I have a multitude of printers I could have picked this on, but I put it on Bamboo mainly because it's my newest printer. I'm just trying to get used to it and see how it all works and does all of its stuff. It's a really quiet printer. The microphone on my phone when I'm shooting here picks up way more sounds than what it actually produces, but it's very, very quiet. And on the right hand side there's a little camera built in, and you'll see a time lapse here. It didn't get the beginning for some reason, but it did all of that, and here is our final product. You can see that it has everything, the 3D design that we had, it's there. So all we have to do is pick up that build plate. I like to flip it over once it's cooled off, and it pops right off, no big deal. And I can just slide that back in, and I have this thing ready to roll. It turned out really nice, and you can see that it did exactly what it was. It's the exact design there. Now we have to see how it fits. So we go in, put it in, it's nice and snug, and that little relief cut at the bottom where we put the circle in really helped out. It sits right in there, holds it nice and tight, and stops it from wobbling, because the base is probably a little undersized, to be quite honest. So let me know if you want me to do more TinkerCAD, questions, or anything else, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.